What's up, YouTube land? Welcome to the Thumper Live channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my bike and why I like it. So this is a Suzuki Boulevard S40. I got this from a guy a couple hours from where I live for about 750 bucks. So I'm just going to go over the bike a little bit real quick. Not going to spend a whole lot of time, just some things I've had to do to it since I got it. So the most recent thing I've done is I put these tires on here. I actually didn't do it myself. I had somebody do it, but this is a K555 Dunlop on the back. The front is a Dunlop 404. The reason I went with a different tire on the back mainly is just because that's the size they had. A lot of people go to the 140 90 15, I believe. And they didn't have that in the 404, at least not where I was looking. So I got the 555. I've actually had experiences with the 555 on another bike, and they wear great and they last a pretty good while. So I would think with this bike being a lighter weight bike and not really running and gunning too much on this style of bike, I would think that this would last a good 7,000 or 8,000 miles at least. A few things I've had to do. This shock I had to replace, so this bike was lightly laid down before I got it, and it really all it did was damage that shock right there. It damaged the badge just a touch, but you got to look really closely to even notice that. One thing I had to do, this is the tool cover. I had to get that. And you wouldn't believe how much that cost. That that right there, along with the locking mechanism, and then there's a locking clip that it was missing, and then the tool bag itself. I think all of that right there cost me probably about 150 bucks. So it's great if you can find one secondhand. You can probably find one for 10 bucks or so. If you look in the right place, but I couldn't find one, so I had to buckle down and get one from a parts source. What else have I done to it? One thing I have done to it is I've added a tack. I'll probably do a video at some point on how to wire this. It's actually very simple. You got to pull the tank, which is not a big deal, but I just really like having a tack. This is the Baron bullet tack. Mini bullet tack. I think they have one that's a little bit bigger than this, but I went with the mini. I can see it well enough. Another thing I've done actually is I made these floorboards. I just really like being able to relax my foot. The pegs that come on this bike, they're just regular foot pegs. They have good cushy rubber on them, but as much as this bike tends to vibrate, especially at highway speeds, it definitely makes a big difference to have some floorboards. So I actually make these. I actually have a website where you can buy these, and I'll put a link to those down in the description of this video. Other than that, only things I had to do to it, I cleaned the carb. The guy I got it from, he had it sitting around for 2 years with a full tank of gas. Gas was old and sour when I got it, so emptied the tank, cleaned the carb, had plenty of sediment and corrosion in it. I did modify the seat a little bit. This kind of seat it falls victim to pretty much all stock motorcycle seats. They're just not very good. The foam that comes in it is a real kind of tough foam, and it probably gets tougher over time. So what I did was actually hollowed out the center portion just a touch, and then put some cotton kind of stuff in there, kind of the stuff that you would expect to see if you were to tear open like a bed comforter. That's kind of what's in the middle, and then on top of the entire thing is a real cushy foam that I got from a fabric store. And it just makes the whole thing a whole lot more comfortable. Other than that, this is my bike, and we're gonna take a short sunset cruise. Sun's starting to set, and we should have a good ride. And it's not too weather's not too bad here in Texas, and we're just gonna go for a short cruise. Alright, so it feels good to be in the wind. It's pretty nice here in Texas tonight. It's probably about 85 degrees right now. We just had a bunch of rain the last few days, so this is my first night on the bike since last week. And all of that rain that came through earlier, the last few days anyways, really brought a good cold front in. It had been, we had probably a 3 or 4 week period this summer where we had about 100 degrees or more every day for a while. Betting about the time we get to the lake, that sun will start peeking out of those clouds and turn those clouds a nice pretty purple and pink color. I'm not going to talk a whole lot, but I guess I'll talk about the bike a little bit more. This is an S40 Boulevard. A lot of people are familiar with the Suzuki Savages. And, a lot of folks consider this a beginner bike, and, that's probably fair to say. It's not a bad beginner bike, and then it's very light. It's only 380 pounds wet weight, which means it's full of gas, the oil's topped off, brake fluid, all that kind of stuff, all your fluids that are necessary to the bike's function. That's when everything's topped off, and that's how much it weighs. So being 380 pounds, it is a fair beginner bike. But, the amount of torque that it's got, considering, when you consider power to weight ratio, it's got quite a bit of power. I think it's 37 foot-pounds of torque, which is not a ton, but when you consider the fact that it's about that much at about 3,400 RPMs, that's torque right now. I had a Honda Magna, 99 Honda Magna VF750 for a while. It was my dad's old bike. It had probably about 55 foot-pounds of torque, but that was at about 9,500 RPMs. So that bike really liked to rev, so you would have to have it make power before you really got any good pull out of it. Now, it was very fast. It was faster than this bike, but yeah, for this to put out 37 foot-pounds of torque at 3,400 RPMs, like I said, that's torque to the wheel right now. In fact, the first time I got on it, I just about peeled myself off of the handlebars because it was so light compared to what I was used to, and again, it just had that torque, and I almost wasn't ready for it. I just kind of thought, it's a tiny bike, it ain't going anywhere. But after a while, I realized that this is a really fun bike. It's great at lower speeds like this. I've got plenty of extra pull if I want it. As far as a highway bike, a touring bike, it's not going to be nearly as comfortable as, any of your Harleys or any of your, Hondas or Yamahas. Your Yamaha V-Stars are kind of, considered touring bikes. Real low vibration, real low seat height. And my uncle actually had one of those. And it's a pretty comfortable bike. You go 70 miles down the freeway, and you're still, you're comfortable the whole time. But those bigger bikes can be real cumbersome if you just kind of drive around town. So if you're looking for something that you're just going to kind of commute on, or just kind of go, take some back roads on, this is a really good bike for that kind of thing. And coincidentally, that's really about all I do. So anyways, this would be considered, this video would be considered, I guess, Season 1, Episode 1 of the Thumper Live channel. Here pretty soon, be sure you like and subscribe. Subscribe. If you dislike, you can hit dislike. But here pretty soon, I'm going to be going with my family to the Grand Canyon. And we're trailering the bikes up there. And planning on taking the camera here and hopefully get some good footage of the Grand Canyon. There's a chick biker there. You know, you just don't see that very often. I can feel my tires are still kind of breading in, I guess. If anybody's ever gotten new tires on their bike, they're kind of squirrely. They kind of, I don't know. It's almost as though they feel like they're aired up to 100 pounds. They're not, but it's just kind of how new tires feel. I'm getting a little bit of that. But it is a nice feel. It feels like the bike's on rails. It's just really hugging the ground. One thing I read about this bike that's very interesting, and something I read, something I guess I was looking for when I put the tack on there. When I got the tack, I had kind of planned on taking whichever digit it would fall on. I was planning on taking a red needle and putting it on that tack wherever the red line is. And in searching for that, I actually found out, according to one person at least, that this bike, it's not powerful enough to make itself redline. Like I said, it's got 37 foot-pounds of torque, but it's only got 31 horsepower, and it actually won't make itself redline. It gets to a point where you've maxed out your torque and your horsepower, I guess, and it's only going as fast as it will go, but it will not. It's not being a thumper. It's just got one cylinder, and it just simply won't move fast enough to make itself redline. So I thought that was really interesting. I guess I should mention this bike had about 5,300 miles on it when I got it, and I've put on. I'm knocking on 7,000 now, so I guess I've put on about 1,700 miles, which I guess the tires, my tires were probably the original tires that were on this bike were still on it when I got it, and they were not, as far as age is concerned, they were done. They were, you could see a little bit of dry rot going on. The tread was not completely done, but they were getting tired. Another 1,000 miles or so, they would have they would have been unsafe. So it definitely feels good to have new tires. But yeah, the original tires got about 7,000 miles out of them. So I'm hoping to get at least that many out of these. I don't know how many miles we'll be putting on the bikes when we go to the canyon. Let's see if there's a halfway decent sunset here. Not bad. Looks like they're re-roofing that Hilton right there. Alrighty, well, I guess that concludes our short little sunset cruise. Appreciate y'all riding along with me. Like I said, like and subscribe. Tune in next time for more videos. We'll see you then.